6 Gynos talk about the birth control they personally use. Birth control is a great thing. Not only does it help prevent unwanted pregnancies, but depending on what kind you use, it can cut your odds of ovarian and endometrial cancers, clear up acne, and ease super painful period cramps, to name just a few of the benefits. So in anticipation of Thanks, Birth Control Day on November 10th, we partnered with bdsider.org for a series all about contraception. You can join in on the birth control celebration by using the hashtag #THXBirthControl. You've no doubt had conversations with your close GFs about what type of birth control they use and what they think about it. But have you ever thought to ask your doc which one she prefers? In a February 2015 study published in the journal Contraception, of the family planning providers asked who said they use birth control, 40% said they have an IUD. Lauren Stryker, MD, author of Sex Rx, Hormones, Health, and Your Best Sex Ever, did her own survey of 100 board-certified female gynecologists, telling WOMENSHEALTHMAG.com that 60% of those she asked said their preferred method of contraception if they were in a monogamous relationship would be an IUD. Obviously, there's a lot of love for the tiny little device that's inserted into the uterus. But not every gyno is the same. Here, 6 share the methods they've used to prevent pregnancy. And proudly Team IUD, as are most gynecologists. My periods were very painful, and the IUD has almost completely taken the pain away. Once in a blue moon I'll have a few hours of mild pain, and I'm reminded of how terrible it used to be. I'm so thankful I don't have to go through that anymore. I'm also thankful to have had extremely reliable contraception. There are so many things in relationships that are unpredictable, and this is the one thing I can be sure of. It takes away a lot of stress to not worry about an unplanned pregnancy. Colleen Krajewski, MD, OB-GYN in Pittsburgh. Used a diaphragm for 15 years because I had an unintended pregnancy using the copper IUD 7 years after my first baby. I switched back to an IUD after my 15 years using a diaphragm. Eve Espy, MD, head of the OB-GYN department at the University of New Mexico School of Medicine. I'm proudly Team IUD. Didn't have access to a Mirena IUD when I was younger, but I was always an enthusiastic birth control pill user. I took one from about age 19 to 52, with time off for a couple of kids. The pill gives you lovely periods and you can have them whenever you want. If you take the pill when you get older, you don't have to worry about perimenopausal, the period right before menopause, symptoms, either. And it cuts your chances of getting ovarian and uterine cancer by about 50%. Mary Jane Minkin, MD, clinical professor of obstetrics and gynecology at Yale University School of Medicine. Got my first methods at Planned Parenthood, the pill and condoms. I've always used condoms to protect against STDs but never as a solo method of contraception. In med school, I used the vaginal ring and then the copper IUD. A couple of years ago, I had my copper IUD replaced with the hormonal IUD, and I much prefer that one because I only have light spotting for periods. It's amazing. Leah Torres, MD, OB-GYN in private practice in Salt Lake City. During most of college and med school, I used birth control pills. I had taken a break from the pill, but then I heard a lecture during med school talking about the non-contraceptive benefits. Most impressive is the much lower lifetime risk of ovarian and uterine cancers, and I thought, I've got to go back on the pill. Ultimately, when I became a physician and a mom, I was running around all day and could never remember to take my pill. So I had a colleague put in a Paragard IUD one day, and I loved it. My first and second period were a little heavier after having the IUD inserted, but it was back to normal by the third period, which is what most women experience. I had that for around 5 years, took a break, and now I have a Mirena. At that point, I was really sold on it from taking care of so many patients who used it. Laura McKissick, MD, Network Director for Family Planning Services, Education, Research, and Policy at Mount Sinai Health Systems and an Associate Professor of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Science at Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. I've always used condoms to protect against STDs but never as a solo method of contraception. V used the hormonal IUD for the past 4 years, and prior to that, I used the vaginal ring in a continuous fashion. As a busy physician, it's hard to get refills or remember something daily. Plus, the amenorrhea absence of menstruation is wonderful. Cramping, no bleeding apart from rare spotting. I haven't had to buy a feminine product in years. Naries Benfeld, MD, Program Director of Family Planning in the Department of Obgyn, Women's Health at Albert Einstein College of Medicine.